Definitely. Well, I think that ties into our last topic that we were going to talk about, which is perfectionism. How do we deal with that? How do you deal with that?
When I learned that perfectionism is just fear in disguise,
ooh,
that's when I was like, ha, gotcha.
I like that.
You know, like when
fear in disguise.
Yeah, because perfectionism is like, I gotta be perfect. And if I'm not perfect, then I'm inadequate. And if I'm inadequate, then I can't be loved. And if I can't be loved, then I'm not worthy. And then I'm unworthy. So I have to be perfect or I'm unworthy of a human being. Like when I figured out that like my perfectionism was just fear. And then when I realized that like fear can mean fuck everything and run, or it can mean face everything and rise, you know, like, or even how about this?
Or it can mean fart every.
I got another one. False evidence appearing real. Like there's a lot of
this is like silly stuff that like 14-year-old girls are like mind blown right now. They're like, holy shit, I never realized fear stood for that.
You know, but I use fear as a marker. Like I've recently been saying done is better than perfect. How many times have I said that recently? I've been saying that a lot because it used to be for me, it's like it has to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, then bleh. You know, like I used to treat my Instagram that way a lot. Like I would even I never really like did the whole like I'm going to delete it if it doesn't perform well. But it used to be like my feelings would get a little bit hurt if something didn't perform well. And now when something doesn't perform well, I'm like, nah, just Instagram being Instagram. You know? Like,
yeah, well, I think about it with this podcast, like AJ knows better than anyone. Like I was very particular with the Andrew Deitch podcast because it was like my baby from the ground up, and I never designed it in a way that was gonna be just like, I guess, sustainable or also even intending on having any other team members. Like I always designed it with like what I was willing to put in, and like there was just certain things that I did that just weren't really scalable in the long term, and I think that's what's been great about the Wheels to Walking podcast is we've designed it specifically with all of those weird little things in mind so that we could eliminate them right off the bat. Like, oh, it's kind of annoying to do the music in post because you got to like get the syncing up exactly perfect, and we want everything to be consistent. And oh, you got to find a special highlight moment at the beginning, so you got to search through the whole thing, and then you got to chop that down to make it fit within this exact amount of music space so that the peak of the crescendo of the music hits exactly right, so then the episode starts. Like there was just so many things that were just long term not like scalable, and like with this podcast, like we've pretty much chosen to do like no intro music because it's easier. We literally, you know, just no fancy transitions. We fade from black and just fade into it because it's easier. You know,
we got really nice mics, so there's not a lot of posts that we have to do.
There's no post production on the audio editing. It all sounds really good out of the thing. You know, like there's just been a lot of steps that we've taken that I think AJ probably appreciates more than anyone.
I mean, the great thing about it is that we've all designed it together collaboratively.
Yeah, it wasn't like, because that's what happened is you built the whole thing and then brought like AJ in, so AJ had to learn like all your crazy shit. And
exactly.
And it's like the same thing as like when I brought you in, I kind of had to like direct you down a path, but then very quickly I was like, here you go, have all of it, you know? And then now that we're all three together, like from the very beginning, it was like, this is a trio. Like it's very much like for the scope and the sphere of like podcast. And also as far as like responsibilities of like even like channel management and stuff like that, I was like, I'm not going to be managing those channels. I'm not the one who's doing the editing, and I'm not going to be the one who's doing the upload. So like that's for you guys to do.
Yeah, you know? Like podcast is pretty much all on us, and like
it's like you guys take care of the podcasting stuff, and
that's a good thing.
Because you guys already were. It's not like this is a new heavy workload. Like you guys are just like, well, we already were doing it for you, so now let's just pivot. Like we're just moving, and when we pivot, we're making things easier.
Exactly, and me and AJ talked about this the other day. I think it was after you left to go hang out with Jalila. We were like, dude, we're already like on square 29. Like we're already so far ahead because we've been doing this shit with the AD podcast for so like not even so long, but just for enough episodes that we already know what this rhythm feels like of doing podcasts.
There's not really a learning curve,
but there's no learning curve at all because number one, there's no guests. So like that's a huge thing. There's no guests. It's always the same three people in the room the whole time. So like I'm not having to do any fucking like research besides trying to come up with topics. I thought about this. I'm like, the topics are nice because we've been trying to make the episodes more topical. It's nicer because we already kind of know what the clips are going to be, and I already kind of know how the conversation's going to roll. And then not only that, we're not like the conversation when it's a brand new person, a brand new guest, I've got to kind of like steer it the whole time and stuff. And
it
now
takes
I
like
feel
a good hour and a half to then have this.
exactly. And I think, it's just nice.
Well, it's also because like
it's a good change of pace.
You two have been doing a podcast together. Andrew and I have been doing a podcast together. So now that when we all three come together, it's like, yeah, we know what we're doing. We're good.
Yeah, literally.
It's like, how can we buy a bunch of fancy stuff to make it easier?
Literally. I mean, that's exactly what we did. And I've been thinking about this too. I think when the AD podcast makes its triumphant return, I think there's probably a lot of things we're going to change just to make our lives easier. Like why, like we've made this definitive line in the sand, just like having a spinal cord injury or something drastic happens in your life. It's like, yo, now you can change everything. It's like, there's been this definite line in the sand where it's like, yo, I'm cutting the AD podcast off for a while. I'm doing Wheels to Walking. Peace.
Well, I
can change things now.
That's a huge asset. So something I've been thinking about a lot is, for me personally, what I've come to learn, and I learned this by just listening to other people, and high performers can make very quick decisions. They do not spend a lot of time thinking about stuff. They kind of trust their instincts. They know what's good, and they also know like to weigh the consequences of their decisions. So it's pretty like, okay, let's just bing, 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 bing. Let's just make a decision.
Because making a decision is better than not making a decision.
Yeah.
Like, even if the decision is maybe not 100% optimal, that decision is still better than doing nothing.
I mean, we can go back to that rug conversation. You were like, Richard, research rugs. And I was like, okay. And then I sent you guys like 3 rugs. I'm like, which one do you like the best? And AJ was like, I like this one. I like this one. I don't like this one. I was like, okay, we just need the okay from AJ. AJ's like, all right, we got, that's an okay from me. And I was like, all right, ordered.
Yeah.
Done.
And then we bought the rug. Like,
Yeah,
it didn't need to be a thing. Because also I also needed kind of you to get in on it too, because I didn't want to buy, my thing was obviously accessibility. So I didn't want to like, I was intentionally in the beginning looking for like really thin things or like alternatives. And you're kind of like, nah, if it's, I mean, as long as I can like roll on it, it's fine.
Well, it's not in like a trafficked area. It's not like it's in the middle of my living room. But
I love how we point over there as living room, which it actually is, but some people probably are like, wait,
it's actually my bedroom.
Yeah.
this is the bedroom. We're in the bedroom right now. But like it's a quick decision making. And I think about when you came to me and you're like, hey, like, what if I just like move the AD podcast over to you? I was like, yep. You know, like it was just a quick decision. You know, I think about like, I don't know. I've just been on this whole like quick decisions thing, and then following through. And like I hate this whole like personal development. People always say that they're like, decision comes from the Latin word decide, which means to cut. So it's like when you decide, it means to cut away. You know,
I remember one.
It's like burn the bridge. It's like cross over the bridge and then burn it behind you, so you don't have the option of going back.
Ah, gotcha.
I have something. So Richard Branson, y'all know who that is.
Yeah.
He had a quote of like, if you have a great opportunity in front of you, say yes, and then just learn how to do it later.
No, seriously, it's the whole idea of jump and build the parachute on the way down.
Well, because some people talk about, I never get opportunities. It's like, because you're not seeing the opportunities as opportunities. You're saying no to things. Like, you're not.
How about this? Create your own opportunity.
Like, think about this. Like, I want to make movies, but I'm doing podcasting. Like, I feel like there's still things I need to learn. I feel like audio is a very, important thing that I need to learn. I feel like sticking around for this is key.
Yeah,
totally. Because you're getting audio expertise, you're getting production, you're getting workflow, you're getting editing, you're getting lighting. Like
you're working with a good team.
Great. Yep. Yeah, you like team building. Like there's a lot of this. It's like, your thing is like directing and making movies, and please continue to do that. But like skills translate.
Totally.
Like that's something I think a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, I want to be a professional baseball player, but like I don't think I should be like a groundskeeper. It's like, well, what if you learn like how to like make really good grass, and then like you figure out like how the grass moves, so that makes you a better outfielder for when balls come at you. It's like, dude, skills translate.
And
skills
wax on, wax off.
Yeah,
dude, skills always translate, and a lot of people don't understand that. Like even I think about like my serving job, the first serving job I ever had. I was like, that was one of the most intense sales jobs
I've
ever had.
And sales, yeah.
Yeah, you got work ethic, you got sales, you got working with groups of people. You understand ambiguity, you understand hostility. Like there's a lot that I'm like, dude, this is very translated.
Totally.
Like,
I mean, I think about it with Photoshop. Like I learned Photoshop really early on. It helped me with so many things in video editing. Like it's helped me tremendously with thumbnail. Like there's just like so many skills that translate over from other things. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I always think, I don't like to be married to an idea that I have, because I'm always like, I have a lot of imposter syndrome, so I'm always sometimes convinced that like deep down maybe I'm like wrong about something. So that's why it's like sometimes hard for me to make a decision, because it's like, well, what if I'm making the wrong decision? But again, you just got it. Sometimes I've learned that a decision is better than no decision.
You're very instinctive. Like you always, I mean, with just listening to you guys talk, you're very like, yes, no, yes, which is good.
Yeah. And I think,
I mean, that was cultivated. That wasn't, I was the most indecisive person. And
Yeah.
I couldn't even like get myself to decide to get out of bed to take a shower, or to decide to get out of bed to eat food, even if I was hungry. Like that's, come on.
because it's like, which do I do first, shower or eat? Because I want to be clean, but I want to eat. Like, I don't know. And then you just decide to do
Let me
nothing.
just pop a pill and watch a movie.
Yeah, literally. I mean, but yeah, like I remember, I always think about like kids when they're young and they're like, I want to be an astronaut. It's like, yeah, maybe in that moment you want to be an astronaut, but like start taking steps towards that, and then you might realize that you don't actually want to be an astronaut and you want to do something else. Kind of like, you know, you might want to be a professional baseball player, and then you get into groundskeeping, but then you realize as you're being a groundskeeper, you're like, I actually love grass and I like want to do this path or whatever. And I think not being married to your original idea and doing what you said you were going to do. Like if you tell your family and friends like, oh, I want to be a lawyer, you have the
You can change your mind.
you can change your
You can
mind.
change
You
your
have
mind
the
anywhere.
permission.
Yeah.
People don't give themselves the permission. You have the permission to change.
You know what a
like,
great permission is?
What?
Spinal cord injury.
Totally, dude.
You have permission to change
Everything.
anything you want in your entire life.
No one's gonna question it.
And all the skills that you had in your bucket of skills, you can translate that into anything else you want to do moving forward.
Yep.
Like you can definitely transition it. And I think about like all the stuff I knew how to do pre-spinal cord injury and then pre-drug addiction, and like all the things that like getting clean taught me, and all the things about using a wheelchair every day taught me. And then even like all the applicable stuff before that has kind of culminated in this.
Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode that clip was from, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click right here. And if you want to watch more clips, we got 2 more right here.